Next on Good Morning El Paso, an El Paso man is dead after a police officer left him paralyzed years ago. We have an update.
Everything really will boil down to the death penalty phase. So that's the #1 objective for the defense.
Day 2 of the trial for the accused Boston Marathon bomber continues today. What the judge had to say to the potential jurors in court, and
it sounded like hell. Literally, like everything was coming apart.
Mother Nature strikes again. From mudslides to sub-zero temps, weather has now turned deadly in some states. Your complete storm track weather forecast is ahead.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
good morning. Today was supposed to be the second day of school for students in Michigan, but because of bone-chilling temps, those kids are staying home again.
Some areas reach temps as low as 30 below zero. And to top it off, more Arctic air is expected to move in today. Temperatures may not rise above 5 degrees these next couple of days.
And good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Floren.
And I'm Stephanie Valle. Just saying 30 below gave me goosebumps.
It's so uncomfortable, right?
It really is.
Talk about.
Yeah.
Well, here in the borderland, we expect the opposite today. It's cold out there, yes, but it's going to be much nicer later today.
Yeah, thankfully no 30 below, Crystal.
Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. I saw actually a friend who's in one of those areas where they're looking at 30 below temperatures, and have to say they were indicating that that would mean even if they were 50 degrees warmer, they'd still be below freezing. Really have to wrap your head around that one. We're below freezing, but just at 28 degrees, so not bad at all compared. We are looking at a wind chill temperature of 23. It still means we feel cold outside, so fair warning, you want the jacket. Winds are at 5 miles per hour and a relative humidity 62%. Las Cruces at 30 degrees with a feel-like temperature of 24 outside currently and winds 6 miles per hour. A look at clouds and radar. We aren't looking at any strong storm systems rolling through today, so winds won't be picking up, and we don't think any rain or snow will move through either. But we do think we've got a chance of it starting your Wednesday into Thursday. We'll talk about those chances with your raincast coming up in just a few minutes.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Crystal. All right, developing now. A manhunt is underway in New York after 2 officers were shot late last night. The officers responding to a robbery when they went to pull a car over of a potential suspect. They were then shot, once in the elbow and one in the back. Both are expected to survive. Police say the shooter or shooters are still at large. Remember, just last month, 2 NYPD officers were killed as they sat in their squad car. ABC7 has confirmed a man who was shot by an El Paso police officer back in 2010 has died. Andres Cortez, who was 20 years old at the time of the shooting, was left paralyzed for nearly 5 years after that incident. An autopsy is now underway to determine the cause of death. In 2010, Officer Jorge Gonzalez was off duty with his girlfriend Michelle when he rear-ended the vehicle that they were in near Yarborough. Police said Cortez tried to drive off and run over Michelle, and that's why Gonzalez shot him in the neck. We are still trying to get an update on Officer Gonzalez, who is still on desk duty with the department.
A father in Las Cruces is behind bars after police say he left his 2-year-old girl out in below freezing temps wearing only a diaper. LCPD have now charged 35-year-old Efrain Mejia with child abuse. They say on Saturday night, Mejia got into a fight with his girlfriend and ran out of the house with the couple's toddler. He allegedly hid outside in the desert for about an hour. The girl, again, only wearing a diaper, and the temperature that night was 28 degrees. We now know the name of the man killed in a crash over the weekend. It happened Saturday night on I-10 near the East Lake exit. Authorities say 31-year-old Aries Carr was driving a semi when a speeding car crashed into him. The semi rolled onto the median and then crashed into a utility pole. Carr was taken to the hospital where he later died. The name of the driver that hit his semi has not been released. Authorities haven't said whether the driver will face any charges. More than $2.5 million worth of methamphetamine is off the streets this morning. Customs and Border Protection agents made the bust Sunday at the El Paso del Norte bridge. They were alerted to an SUV by a drug-sniffing dog. And inside that vehicle, they found 32 bundles of meth, which weighed more than 85 pounds. The 54-year-old driver from California was arrested and turned over to federal authorities.
And authorities need your help this morning finding this girl, a teenager from Las Cruces. Rosa Hurtado is a student at Las Cruces High and has been missing since December 10th after she didn't come home from school. On the 19th, authorities say she called her mother and told her she wanted to come home. The phone connection was lost, though, and Hurtado's mom says that her daughter told her she was somewhere off of Highway 70. She has not been heard from since. If you know where she is, you're asked to call the Sheriff's Department. Well, today is day 2 of the jury selection in the trial of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the one surviving suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings.
The now 21-year-old defendant faces a possible death sentence if he's convicted. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez has this story.
Under tight security, the first of 1,200 potential jurors came face-to-face with accused Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. The judge telling them they have to be willing to be impartial and be open to the death penalty if Tsarnaev is convicted.
Everything really will boil down to the death penalty phase. So that's the number one objective for the defense, to spare Tsarnaev's life.
The 21-year-old has pleaded not guilty. He faces 30 charges in connection with the bombings in April of 2013 near the finish line of the Boston Marathon. 3 people were killed and more than 260 others were injured.
I think he's an animal. He knew when he dropped that backpack there was kids, women, families. His intentions were to do exactly what he did.
Tsarnaev's lawyers are expected to argue that the defendant acted under pressure from his older brother Tamerlan. He was killed in a police shootout 4 days after the attack. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev was captured hours later.
We have movement in the boat.
The defense's attempt to have his trial moved out of Boston failed.
Is it possible here in Boston for Dzhokhar to get a fair trial?
A judge maintaining that despite the emotional connection so many here have to the case, the attorneys will find 12 jurors and 6 alternates to fairly decide Tsarnaev's fate. And the judge expects testimony to begin on January 26 and says the trial should last 3 to 4 months. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Boston.
With many people returning to work this week, it feels like the holidays are kind of over, right?
Yeah, but not entirely. For many here in the borderland and around the world, the celebrations are still going on. Good morning, El Paso's Andrew DePolk is live to explain. Andrew?
Yeah, good morning, Hillary and Stephanie. While we are in the new year, the holiday season for the devout and the traditions here in the borderland do still continue. Now, this morning at the Vatican in Rome, Pope Francis celebrated the Epiphany, a major Catholic feast day that recalls the visit to the infant Jesus Christ by 3 kings, holding a solemn mass in St. Peter's Basilica this morning. Now, during the service in Vatican City, Pope Francis told worshipers to follow the path of those 3 kings. Epiphany honors the Magi from the east, Melchior, Gaspar, and Balthazar, who are mentioned in the Gospel of St. Matthew as following a star to Bethlehem to give those gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to the newly born Christ. Their arrival is celebrated by Christians today, 6th of January each year. And here in the borderland, another tradition is still going strong. Places like the Bowie Bakery have been working overtime to bake up as many rosca de reyes as they can. The traditional sweet bread comes filled with pineapple, strawberry, caramel, or cream. People celebrate 3 Kings Day here usually by eating the sweet bread, often with hot chocolate. So how do you celebrate 3 Kings Day? You can tell us about your traditions with family and friends on our Facebook page right now. Hillary and Stephanie?
All right, thanks so much, Andrew. Let's take a live look at traffic now.
And looking over at I-10 and Geronimo in central El Paso, you can see the traffic is starting to pick up this morning. No problems to report on the roads, but we do understand there's a water main break in that area at Magruder and Trowbridge. So if you are in that area or use those roads, you may want to take a detour because we understand that they may be blocking off some of the streets while they try to get a hold of that water main break.
It was supposed to be done with renovations back in August of 2013.
We're talking about the county sports park in East El Paso, and now county commissioners are taking action to finish the project. What they decided later in the newscast.
Also coming up, weather has now turned deadly for some Americans, and we're going to take a look at the Arctic air that is shutting down 2/3 of the country this morning.
But what can we expect back here in the borderland? Meteorologist Crystal Clay has your complete forecast. Crystal.
Well, it is cold this morning, but we are talking colder afternoons ahead of us with a cold front moving our direction. When it strikes and how low we'll go. Up after your break.
This is ABC 7, where news comes first.